Hey, let's replace a motor mount in the Geo Tracker. How hard could that job be? Welcome back to the Auto Obscure Garage. Chadwick with you again for another installment of Project Back on Track, our 1995 Geo Tracker. Man, it's motor mount time. And there's no way to put this nicely, guys. This is an entire struggle operation. That's all we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be struggling in the garage, doing a damn motor mount. A job that's so easy on so many other vehicles. But let's struggle together. We got this. You know, sometimes you just need to have a really hard garage session to kind of keep you humble, keep you grounded to the ground, in the words of a famous Toyota commercial. But anyway, let's get in the garage, do this motor mount, and get a lot dirty. I'll see you in there. Motor mount jobs are pretty straightforward for the most part, and on the tracker, it looks like it's gonna be until you really look into it. So you can come over the engine bay and you can look down there and see the motor mount. There we go, there's the motor mount right there where it mounts up to the chassis. Where it gets complicated, we have to go underneath and look. But this motor mount has two fixed threaded studs on both sides, so you can't really just loosen one end and pull it up. You gotta loosen everything, so you gotta remove it from the chassis. Now let's pop underneath the vehicle real quick. Now underneath the vehicle, you can see our oil filter right there. There's our motor mount. Now unfortunately, for us, is the motor mount bolts. There's the other brackets, sub brackets. I think I'm gonna have to take all of that out to get it out of there, to tell you the truth. It's just, there's a lot of stuff under here. It's kind of miserable. You can see all these bolts. Luckily, most of them are 14 millimeter. So that makes that part easy, but there is gonna be a lot to take off. So we gotta remove all that bracketing, get that loose, obviously hit that bolt in there that's holding it, or get that nut off of the bolt. It's so awesome. Let's just go at it. I'll kind of detail it as I go. I couldn't find any documentation online, and we're just gonna kind of go slowly together and figure this out. There's also not a lot to support this job online. Nothing I could find for videos. Forums are kind of spotty and iffy. So we're gonna kind of do this together. At least it'll serve to help someone else in the future, hopefully. Because this process, everything I did read, it is longer than you think. But let's start getting these brackets off here. Step one. Of course, you're gonna come over here. You can already see I got it in place. Get your engine supported with a nice floor jack, a little length of 2x4 to cushion it a little bit. Now, you're not trying to push your engine up through your hood space. You're just trying to hold it in place, take a little bit of that weight off of it. So you can slide the bolts out for the motor mount. Pretty straightforward there, but get that nice and secure before you start working. Both of these replacement motor mounts are exactly the same. So one will go on the right, one will go on the left. This little section here is different. Maybe this is a revised component versus what's originally in the truck, because I think the originals are still there. Actually, 100% sure those are the originals. But yeah, this is the replacement part. Hopefully it fits up well. You can order these anywhere. A whole bunch of different makes and manufacturers of this part. But let's go ahead and remove the old one on the driver's side first. I'm gonna try to hit these bolts that you can access through the hood area first. I did soak everything in PB Blaster. Not a bad idea. This isn't a crusty truck at all, but anything I can do to prevent any broken bolts, I'll take it. Now this one under the little steering here is a little pain in the butt, so bear with me as I try to angle this in. Got one of those big chunky bolts loose, as you can see. No crust on there, but we'll clean it up a little bit. Start of our hardware collection. Okay, next up we're gonna hit that little nut that goes on the threaded stud that's sticking out like this from the motor mount. Just hit it with a regular wrench. It's gonna be a slow go. Man, I wish I could find my ratcheting 14. Yeah, this is gonna be a slow burn. There's that washer and nut off of that mount. Okay, we're back underneath the tracker and you can see that one nut connected to the motor mount there. Try to take him off next. I don't think we're gonna have enough wiggle room without removing all the mounting brackets attached to the motor, but we'll see. Let's go ahead and back that nut off and see where we're at. 14 millimeter, just like the rest. Here's that nut and washer off that bottom of the motor mount.
So herein lies the problem. We've got it loosened up pretty good, and we can wiggle it, but there's no way both of those threaded studs are coming out. There's no way to manipulate this. I'm pretty dense, but I can't figure it out. The next thing I'm gonna do is unbolt everything you see here. So this bracket coming off the motor, and that should allow us, to pull this down, flex it around enough, get enough room to generally get that out of there. But boy, what a pain in the butt. It looks like it'd be a lot easier than this, but it's really not. So let's go ahead and hit all these bolts. They're all 14s. We gotta do these two little guys up here, which you gotta hit with little wrenches, and then the actual, looks like transmission side of the motor. Yeah, I can't tell. It's so hard to see under here. There's two more 14mm bolts. So it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more bolts. And then we should have enough wiggle room. If not, I don't know what the heck we're doing. Let's get them done. I'm gonna start with these little guys up here. These little 14s, we'll hit those with a regular wrench. Let's do it. And the last two bolts are on top of the bracket, connected to the motor. So let's get those off and see if we can do anything here. And there we go, the last two bolts. Let's go jiggle some stuff and see if we can get that motor mount to fall out. This has been incredible. Oh my God, is there more? Let's go underneath the car and look. Yep, this is officially one of the worst motor mount jobs I've ever done. There, I got everything out. I'm gonna clean it up, lay it out on the floor, show you a full dissection since it was so hard to show you in detail. Let me clean this up and show you what we're working with. Okay everyone, this is where I go the extra mile in showing you what I just did. So I put everything kind of together, and you got the hardware and fasteners kind of all laid out as they would be in the truck, because it's impossible to show you when I'm under there. But anyway, this is the top part that rests on that little bracket, the 3 bolts that go in there. This is the section that goes towards the transmission, those 4 bolts right there, and it connects on the bottom right here. Then you have this bracket here. You can see the engine mount is sandwiched between these two things, and it has 4 bolts holding it in. These are the 2 nuts that hold both the threaded studs that come off the motor mount. Now this is the old motor mount. You can see how it's sandwiched between those 2 brackets. Sits in there just like that. But that is what you're working with. Now, even with everything loosened, it was a pain in the butt to get this out of the vehicle. I really had to wiggle the hell out of it. Now, putting it back in, I'm not sure how I'm gonna approach this. I don't think I wanna assemble everything and try to squeeze it in because I don't think I had that space. Oh, this is gonna be a pain in the butt. I might just try to line everything up similar to what I have do here. Or similar to what I have here, use those 2 nuts to secure everything so it's kind of together, make that sandwich out of the new motor mount. But let's see how we're gonna do that. But I did want to show you this dissected view because you can't see anything underneath the truck. This is what you're dealing with when you're swapping out just this little motor mount. So all these brackets need to come out. There's the associated hardware. What a job. That's just the driver's side, guys. All right. Next step will be getting that all back in the car, which is going to be a challenge, no doubt. And then we'll do the passenger side. I did want to show the difference between the old and new. So here's our old motor mount here. You can see it's more solid in the back, got a metal plate there. That probably can pop right off, to tell you the truth. I wonder if it will. That might be actually part of the mounting that came off, but if you turn it around, it all looks pretty much the same. Here's the new one. You can see a lot less play in it. The other one I can take and press with just my thumb, so that's why our engine was vibrating so much. And it's got this little attachment at the bottom. Now the diameters, or all the measurements are the same, but this little addition at the bottom is interesting. So not sure why that got added. It looks like it'd be a brace against something. Maybe it's a counterweight, I don't know. This is the revised one, so we'll have to see what that does. Kind of interesting. Yeah, I think this plate needs to go over here, so we should find a way to remove that and install it on the new motor mount. Like I said, guys, we're figuring this out together. There's nothing online that told me about this, but I pried that old plate off of the old motor mount, so you can see they kind of do match quite a bit here. So flip that around, obviously. So this would be facing downward. But yeah, our original one is super worn out. The new revised one looking way more meaty, way more solid. Yeah, that rubber's all, you can see all the stress fractures and stuff. So yeah, Out with the old, in with the new. And I bet that plate fits right on there. I'm gonna clean it up a little bit and then pop it right in. All right, we can just simply fit that cover over the new motor mount. Probably need to hammer it down just a little bit. Alright, this is quite the unique motor mount job. So that's on there now. I'm ready to reassemble that and try to figure out how this puzzle goes back together to fit into the truck. Let's get it. Okay, a couple things to note also to make this job a little more fun is that the new motor mounts don't have the same thread and pitch on these threaded studs. So you have to go to a hardware store. I used my trusty nut and bolt gauge here to figure out what I needed, first off, just in case. But yeah, these are not the same. So these nuts, the other ones that came on it, original equipment, were M10 by 1.25. These were M10 by 1.5 nuts. So make sure you scoop up some of those. Another thing too I'm finding is that these little studs here actually aren't all the same. So you have to actually drill them out a little bit to get that stud to fit through. Really fun stuff here, guys. So just keep that in mind when you're doing all this. You might have to make some small adjustments and some modifications. Again, gonna keep these loose after I put the assembly together and try to wedge it back into the car. Let's do it. Sorry for the wacky angle here, but we're back under the truck. As you can see, we got the motor mount in, all the bolts are in, a couple top tips. I did have to remove the oil filter. It just made placing this bracket back on, which is a pain in the butt, that much easier. You need all the room you can get to slide it around. Also, there's another bracket that goes up to the exhaust above it. That helped a lot removing that. I should have removed that when I pulled the motor mount, but I didn't. So that made installation a little easier. Guys, this is not an easy job at all. You can see our bracket going to the back there. Sorry about the lighting, everything's looking pretty good. But yeah, it's tight in here. New hardware is all tightened down. Everything, all the hardware was cleaned up, tightened down as well. So it's looking pretty good under here. Gonna get a new oil filter. I don't like reusing those, but just removing that and that other bracket were a big help. Again, kept those new nuts loose on the back in front of the motor mount. So when I went to install, there was some wiggle room. Slid it on, kind of got it all together and tightened down. What a pain in the butt. What's interesting is this little piece here that wasn't on the original motor mounts. I was about to do the passenger side and realized, as you can see, it would interfere with the clutch cable on a manual vehicle. So I'm not sure if those are the right part, because you don't want to actually push down on a mechanical clutch cable constantly. So I'm going to hold off doing the passenger mount. Actually, I did actually start the vehicle once I obviously replaced the oil filter, and it idles perfectly smooth. A little bit of gas, very smooth also. So I think that driver's side motor mount was the really bad one. I still want to replace this passenger one. I just got to find out if I can get one without that little attachment down here, because I don't want to foul up that clutch cable. So I'm happy for now replacing this driver's side one, but yeah, this is a job not for the weak of heart, guys. New motor mount installed on our Geo Tracker. Definitely a pain in the butt.